Hey, this is Brian again, and I'd like to ask you to do a favor. We can't do this work without people like you, so if you can, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about Bring Back the Porch.
We think of it as it starts with food. And so it is a nutrition program in a way, and there's actually a lot of research behind the Meals on Wheels program and the benefit it creates in a health system, for example, savings. But the big thing for us is those volunteers become a social lifeline to the users of that program. So it's a very important program for that reason alone.
This episode of Bring Back the Porch brought to you by Bernie Leahy, River Street Realty. Let's get you home. And I'm pleased to welcome to the porch today Larry Matheson, the CEO of Unison. Welcome, Larry.
Well, thank you for having me.
Now, we used to see you on a regular basis back in the day when you used to come and visit us at Chat Television, but we haven't talked to you on the porch yet, so we thought it would be a good idea to just sort of run over what Unison is and how you are connected to the Veiner Centre.
Sure. Unison, Veiner is actually part of Unison. And so a number of years ago, the city of Medicine Hat was looking at contracting out the operation of Meals on Wheels and the Veiner Centre. And so at the time, we were Kirby Centre. And so Kirby Centre has been in existence for about 53 years now. And for the longest time, we were known as Kirby Centre in the province and in Calgary. And we bid on the contract to operate the Veiner Centre. And when we won that contract, we worked with essentially a brand firm. And they said, well, you need to come up with an umbrella brand. And so really Unison for the Generation 50 Plus just represents anything that we do to serve older adults in Alberta. And that's mainly in Medicine Hat and Calgary.
Okay. Now, the Veiner Centre has been around for quite some time. The former mayor donated the land, and they built it, and it got flooded, and they fixed it, and it got flooded, and then they fixed it again. Yeah. It is a beautiful facility down on the edge of Lions Park, and if you have not been there, I would encourage you to go, because there is a wealth of things for people to do there, and people over 50. So I guess that's the starting point there. So what can a person over 50 find at the Veiner Centre?
Well, we have a pretty wide variety of things we do at the Veiner Centre itself. And so, when we started operating the centre almost 6 years ago now, there was a lot of clubs that were operating out of the centre. And so like a lot of recreational, like you can play bridge, you can play crib, you can do quilting, a variety of things like that. And one of the things that we worked in partnership with the city was to bring a wider spectrum of supports and activities. And so we now we have more classes that there may be a fee involved, but we also partner with other organizations to provide maybe counseling, for example, or mental health services or support groups. So there's a wide variety, and we try to essentially target helping older adults live their best life. And so before we started taping, we were talking about estate planning. Mm-hmm. And so we work with maybe local estate lawyers or investment professionals to do classes and orientations and help people prepare for their will or their estate and that type of thing.
Okay. I'm wondering about if you do anything with how people retire.
Yeah, that's another area where we're increasing our services, supposedly. In person, so people can go take those kind of classes, but we're also creating a stable of materials on our YouTube channel where we have investment professionals help provide webinars which we record and then put on that YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think I saw some courses are online. Are they live or are they pre-recorded?
They're both. We usually have a live sign-up so people can sign up on our website for all sorts of classes on Zoom or Teams, and we record those. So again, if you didn't get a chance to do it live, you can watch it later on.
Okay. You always get the people, well, what happens if I don't have a computer?
Yeah.
What happens if I don't have a computer?
Well, actually, now you can your iPhone or an iPad or any kind of device, you can stream it for sure.
Yeah. The Viper of Veiner caught my eye when I was grazing through the website. What's that all about?
Well, this is kind of one of our fun things we do that is almost like a kind of reverse community integration. And so definitely people who are members and users of Veiner participate in this. But essentially, targeting Seniors Week, as we're coming up to Seniors Week, we want our Veiner Viper to be in full bloom, and so people, the local schools, camp groups, and so on, will paint rocks to become part of the Veiner Viper, and they get streamed around our playground.
Yeah, so it'll be visual, and I'm sure people are going to enjoy having that to look at as well.
For sure.
Vintage transportation is another one that caught my eye from the website.
Yeah. Well, there was a program in the province a number of years ago started called Drive Happiness. And this program started as a way to support seniors who may have problems getting to their medical appointments or their legal appointments or whatever. And so we sought funding from Healthy Aging Alberta and from the government of Alberta to fund the program. And so Veiner Vintage is actually an adaptation on the Drive Happiness program, where volunteers will help seniors who don't have their own transportation get to important medical appointments.
What's the commitment if you wanted to volunteer?
There's not necessarily a minimum commitment. Our Meals on Wheels, our volunteers tend to be part of that rotation, whereas this program, if you could only do a drive once a week or whatever, we'd still be interested in your help.
Okay. The Meals on Wheels is really, I guess, where you got your foot in the door here, and that is still going strong. But a lot of challenges with the price of food and the price of gasoline. Yeah,
for sure. That's a challenging program. It is a program that has continued to grow over the last 5 years, and we're excited about that. We have more routes, and it seems like every year we add a couple more routes, and it just kind of keeps continuing to grow. And we've also partnered with the municipality in Red Cliff to expand our services out to Red Cliff, so that's exciting. But like you say, that is a program that is very supported by volunteer investment, and it's hard for people to volunteer when the price of gas is so high. So we do have some supporters in the community that donate things like car washes and stuff like that. But also just the cost of groceries is tremendous right now. So it is hard. We couldn't run that program without donations from the community, for sure.
Not only the nutritional value of this program, but I know from past experience that for many of the people, this is their only contact with the outside world, is when the Meals on Wheels driver comes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we think of it as it starts with food. And so it is a nutrition program in a way, and there's actually a lot of research behind the Meals on Wheels program and the benefit it creates in a health system, for example, savings. But the big thing for us is those volunteers become a social lifeline to the users of that program. So it's a very important program for that reason alone.
Yeah. You also, under the umbrella, the Strathcona Centre.
Yeah.
A lot of things available there too.
Yeah, as part of our partnership with the city, we have access to the Strathcona Centre, and we share that, particularly in the summer when the pool is open. Mm-hmm. But we have our gym there, so there's a fitness facility in that centre, so you can become a member of that as well as our things like pickleball operate out of that centre as well. And we have office space as well. One of the programs we run that we've brought is social prescribing, which is another program where we partner with the primary care network. And essentially, we have an adult child come to us and say, hey, Dad keeps falling when he's trying to clean out the gutters, and he can't keep up with the maintenance of his house, and we think he needs to move on to long-term care or something. And so a program like social prescribing gives medical professionals, like primarily GPs, an option. It's like, well, you don't have to go into long-term care because you can't keep up your property or you can't do this or that. And so our link workers will work in the community with volunteer organizations and with other kind of partner agencies to help take away the things that would get in the way of you remaining in your home or in your community.
Downsizing is another one for this particular demographic. I know that my wife and I went through that about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You don't realize how much stuff you have collected until you start to move, and it just seems to come out of the woodwork. Do you have any courses or any help to help people get ready to downsize?
We do. We actually have a couple of videos on our YouTube channel. A lot of the partners we work with, either in the centers here and in Calgary, or who are advertisers in our Unison newspaper, are essentially in the space of helping people with that downsizing, and they do a variety of different things. But a number of those providers are quite willing to do Zoom sessions and webinars for us. So we will have more in the future. There are some on the YouTube right now, but there's definitely more planned for this year.
Elder abuse is another unfortunate thing that is in our society. Does the Veiner Centre help people spot the signs of elder abuse and give them some ideas how to counter it?
We do. We have outreach workers and case workers operating out of Veiner Centre, which really means operating in the area surrounding Medicine Hat. And so they help, and they take referrals from other agencies, other social workers or whatever, or they'll take direct referrals from the community, so someone could call in for help. Yeah. But it is, in Calgary we operate the first purpose-built elder abuse shelter in North America. And when I personally started working with Unison, I couldn't believe that there was a need for an elder abuse shelter. But sure enough, there is, and we're always at capacity. But also, as we've done more outreach in the community, there's such a demand.
Yeah. And the grandparents scam is another one that is out there. I suppose your staff keep an ear out, an eye out, just watching out for people too?
We do. Our volunteers are trained to help identify it, but we also work with partners like the RCMP and Better Business Bureau and so on to get information out to seniors about scams, because with scams, they're always getting more sophisticated, and most people have probably heard with AI the type of senior scams are going to continue to get more and more hard to discern.
Yeah, the criminals are getting smarter, or at least their machines are getting smarter.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Medicine Hat, I guess, is the focus for the Veiner Centre, but you've already said that you also help serve Redcliffe. What about Cypress County, Dunmore, or some of the smaller communities outside Medicine Hat? Can people come in?
People can definitely come in, and we certainly have people come in for some of our kind of our sessional things or our events. And we are looking for ways and support to essentially kind of broaden our impact out into the rural area as well.
Okay. Membership.
Yeah.
How much and how do I become a member?
It's fairly easy. We have volunteers in the center. You can buy a membership. I think our membership is like $80 or something now, the basic. And if you want Fitness Plus, it's a little more, and so on. You can do it all on our website as well. You can just sign up directly on our website. If your membership is coming due, our volunteers will tend to give you reminder calls and so on, and they can take the information over the phone as well.
There's also a way to donate to the Veiner Centre.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the majority of our donors at Veiner Centre bring a check into the volunteers at the door, but you can do it all online now as well. And again, every year we have more of our donations come in on our online with your credit card or your bank debit card.
Okay, and volunteering.
We have a nonstop need for volunteers, and partly because Meals on Wheels has continued to grow at a good clip, but also programs like Veiner Vintage Transport need volunteer support all the time. So we, in a given year, we will likely we'll likely have more than 400 volunteers this year in Veiner Centre doing something for seniors.
Well, that is the heart blood of a lot of things in Medicine Hat. It's good to know that people are volunteering.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you about the Bistro.
The Bistro is kind of our favorite part of Veiner Centre. The Bistro is open every day, and you don't have to be a member to come and have lunch or have a coffee. But one of the things that Rick and the team have been working on is their themed dinners. And so they're trying to do at least one themed dinner per month, and you can see those on our Facebook page or on our website. But again, having an evening where there's a planned menu, an affordable price, and usually some form of entertainment.
Okay. Larry Matheson, anything else you wanted to add before we wrap up?
No, I think we're just thrilled with the community support we've got in Medicine Hat, the programs we're trying to operate, both in terms of volunteer investment and people's donation of their financial resources. So just thrilled to be working in a community like Medicine Hat.
Larry Matheson, thank you for the visit.
My pleasure.